are watching us, welcome to our show X Marks the Spot, the place where you encounter real people who've had real encounters with God. Now, this show is a show that demonstrates God's ability to take an ordinary man, an ordinary woman, and in a sequence of extraordinary encounters, use them to do extraordinary things. This is a show full of interviews of men and women of God, authors, preachers, musicians, business women, businessmen, career people, and even everyday ordinary people, all sharing their testimonies of how they encountered God and their lives never remained the same. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. We are very grateful. I hope, first of all, you had a blessed Christmas and festive season. This is the first show of the year. Happy New Year. May God bless you. Now, in the show, I am joined by a very anointed, powerful woman of God with such an inspiring testimony. Her life is going to encourage you. Her life will give you hope, and it will give you an unction to seek even God more. But before we go to that testimony and to her story, let us go on a short break with some anointed music. In studio today, I am joined by a very powerful woman who has really encountered God in such a unique way. Most of you have been, sending me messages, calling me, telling me, please bring this woman of God. But guess what? We've said we are going to start this show this year with her, Reverend Jean Nyoro. Karibu sana to our show.
Thank you, Pastor Meja, for having me.
For those who don't know, you kindly just introduce yourself. Who are you and what you do?
Thank you. My name's Reverend Jean Nyoro. I'm a mother, a mother-in-law, a wife, a reverend, and a businesswoman.
Wow. Karibu sana, Reverend, once again. Let us go quickly. Tell me about your background, where you are from, where you got born, and most importantly, how you got born again.
Yes, my background, I was born and brought up in Murang'a County. Mm-hmm. And went to school the same place. Mm. And that's where I was brought up.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
In the rural areas.
So, were your family, was it a Christian family? Was where did you go to church at that particular time? I
was born and brought up in an ACK family. That was the background of all my family members.
Yeah.
When we were young, when we started going to Sunday school, we went to the closest church. It was a hall, not a church.
Yes.
During this, on Sunday, It was turned to be a church, but weekdays, it was turned to be a nursery school. That is my first church to be. And that's where I met my grandmother, even my mother. That's where we were going.
Wow.
And it was a family church. Actually, my grandmother was a custodian of the things of the church, because Sunday we had to move everything out. That is the drum, not the current ones, the books. So we had to keep them somewhere safe. And that was in my grandmother's home. So we were the one to carry them home every Sunday. And that's where I used to go to church.
Tell me about how you got born again, how you were introduced to Christ, because a lot of people are brought up in Christian families, yet themselves, they don't have any relationship with God. How was your journey of you knowing Christ?
My journey of me knowing Christ, as I say, as we were in that church, we were young, we were in Sunday school.
Yes.
And every day the Sunday school could perform before the crowd. And after we performed, we were left to do our own things behind the church.
Yes.
I'm thankful here we don't let our children go.
Yes.
And when we were growing up in my home, my mother brought a family member from her side to take care of us. Actually, those days, relatives used to live with you many. And so she brought this lady who was living with us. The lady she brought are the ladies that she used to wear the long robes, and she had a headscarf. And she was put to be sleeping in one room with us. And this lady could play. This lady could sing kegosho. But on Sunday, she could not attend our ACK church because she could attend her family church that was far from where we were. And so every Sunday, she used to leave very early in the morning and come back in the evening. And so when we were in ACK church, when we finished Sunday school, one time there was something in her I really loved. She could sing and she could worship. And I could feel myself in her. That time I remember I was in class 5. And one time, after we had performed our Sunday school, after we were left outside to do our own things, I followed to the church where the lady used to go. It was not a church like with a building, but it was somewhere they used to meet. And when I followed there, whatever they were doing gave me a zeal. I loved it. I loved it as a young person. I don't know how I could love it today, but that time I really loved it. I loved the singing, the dancing, the preaching, the way they were speaking with a lot of energy, and the preacher was speaking things which I had not heard in my ACK church. Until it became a routine that every Sunday, after we do what we are supposed to do in Sunday school, we follow there. There's one part we did not know, because one time when we were there, I went there 3 times. The pastor asked who would like to get saved. And I, with the other many children, lifted our hands up. One part we did not know, when you get saved there, they take you straight to the river and they baptize you. We were not ready for that. We did not have any second clothes to change. And we were baptized. Now we were left under the masses of the sun to dry up. We came home. My mother did not notice anything. The following Sunday, we did the same. And still the pastor asked the same. What I did not know, you just get born again once. Then many children lifted their hands. I was among them too. Again, we were taken to the river, baptized again. But this time things didn't go well. The sweaters we had did not dry up. Then we came home. And my mother said, we never go back there. So we were left at the mercies of our mother. But there was something that was left hanging in me. My mother didn't like this lady very much. And I think it is because of that. She did not stay long with us. She left. When she left, I just continued with our church. And during class 7, I joined secondary in Tetunyeri, Kangoviri. When I joined there, I joined CU direct. And that's where I got born again. Because we had these men and women who were coming to preach. And now in Form 1, I get born again. And I continued completely. And I kept the faith on a serious manner. And
this time, why now did you now get, this one now the second time?
This now was the second time.
Why now did you get now born again? What made you now to give yourself fully at this young age?
I think now I had grown to love. Let me tell you the truth. I keep remembering that lady who was in our house. And I could keep remembering the words of my grandmother when she was a custodian of the things of the church. She used to say, carry the things of the Lord and carry them properly, and she will carry you us. That was a saying my grandmother said until the end. The best thing, she was real born again. So I think that thing made me to think I should carry the things of the Lord. So when I was in secondary, I did not even waver out. And I kept the faith until I did my Form 4. Yes, between there were many things that there were dances that could come in school. You were among them, and still you were on the other side. There were little lies there and there. It could get stuff, and still you are born again. Even when we come home, there were many things that were going on, and still you meet yourself. You are holding the faith, but you are on another side. And that's where I was.
Wow. Okay, so were you in any leadership in the CU?
Yes, in CU.
Wow. So you started leadership
I started
at a young age.
straight on.
Wow.
Actually, when I was in Form 2, I was the leader of the school,
Wow.
of the whole school. And I kept it to the end.
Wow.
Until I left. And I thank God. Here in Giam, I know some of the people like to want to lead this.
Wow.
We were with them then, and I always see them visit here. So I'm happy that we know each other from that far.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So after high school, did you start working, or did you go to college? What happened after high school?
Yes, after high school, immediately that December, I remember my aunt came for me. And she brought me here in Nairobi.
Yeah.
And she didn't have a house girl. Yeah. So I was doing everything the house girl can do.
Yes.
And as if it was not bothering me, let me just say that. But after 6 months, this time my father said that he has paid school fees for everybody else. So now he's thinking where to take me. Before my father could take me somewhere, the words of my grandmother become reality. Because my own grandfather had gone to the battle that was in Mauritius. And when they were in the battle of Mauritius, they were with the old Mr. Jackie Block, who went to be the Lord, who was the owner of all the Block hotels. And when they were there, after they were leaving, Jackie Block had committed himself to some of his friends, my grandfather being one of them. Yes. And he had given them a small card and said, when your children come of age, bring them to work with me. Wow. And I remember this day was a Thursday. My father, I don't know the arrangement they had with my aunt because there were no phones, but my aunt was working. But I was brought to Nagara. I know that was that bus stop. And my father came. Me and him walked to Norfolk Hotel. When we walked to Norfolk Hotel, we went to the gate. And we entered, and the soldiers, the things that the soldiers do, and Jackie Block was called. And my father has like a small, little brown card, I do remember, that was written my grandfather's name. And to me, when I look back, I got a job on a covenant way. Yes. The sayings of my grandmother. Yes. And when Jackie Block came to see us, we stayed for a while outside, somewhere, the waiting area. When he came to see, he was an old man that time. He looked straight at...
He was still alive?
Alive there.
Wow.
He died when I was working there.
Wow.
He was still alive. He came and said, he ndio dito ya mzee Hezron. And first of all, the word dito, I did not know what it means.
What does it mean?
I think it's a girl or something. He says dito. Okay. I remember that's what he said. And my father said, yes, he was sent to bring me. I was hired in an afternoon. And Jackie Block told my father, she will know her way home. Yeah. And I followed him, the old man. I went with him. And he handed me to the very best man I can ever talk about, a manager or a father or a mentor. Yeah. His name was John Gondi. He was a Luo. He was handed over to me. And he was told, allocate this girl and teach her. That man was good. He called the secretary. He had his big office. That was the first time to see big offices. And I was this girl, naive. The dressing, the everything did not look like I'm supposed to be there. And that time the hotel was all full of white people only. Many were white, no black people, only the workers. I was taken around. John Gordy gave me the appointment of the following morning. I came, I went through a little paperwork of which he did much for me because I did not know what. He did very much for me to fill for me. They took me to one of an Indian guy where he was called Mr. Thacker. I remember them very well. And I think people were good that time. Even today, I want to say they are good. And I was allocated to New Stannery House, which is in town. And there I was allocated, we did not have phones, that's what I'm saying. So even the hotels, as Block Hotels was a group of many hotels, Kikolok, Outspan, there were very many. And so to speak to people there, we are using something called over. So I was allocated in that room. We used to call it strong room. And that's where I was working. And a woman of God whom I love even today called Caroline, who lives in Uhuru Estate, yes, an elderly one, who was a God-driven woman, and who also now became the best guardian of me to know God. She was from Luhyaland. She was married by a Kikuyu. I visit her sometimes when I have time. And I started working. And life was good. And like any other girl, I don't want to say things were very straight and smooth. One time or another, I could meet myself in the wrong place because I have to keep the friends. But I want to let you know, Meja, Pastor, I used to stay with my friends in the club. And early in the morning, I used to go to church. And they all knew that. Something happened one time which started messing me. In that company, it was most of the directors, I want to say, anyone who was senior was a white. So there was one white guy called Mr. Stockdale. Mr. Stockdale, they were working there with a wife called Lily. Lily used to drive the smallest car I've ever seen. Molly's Minor, Volkswagen, those small, mini cars. And so she used to park them down there, many of them. So one time this woman came and said, and she took the lady, Caroline, not me, because me, I was just to be sent here and there. And she told her, she said, I'm selling that smoker. And I looked back from where I was sitting, and I said, I don't have it. From the bruise. And she said, if it's you have it? And she asked, do you know how to drive? I said, no, but I can have it. She said, if it's a little Jane, they used to call me Little Jane, you can have it. Sure, the car, I had it for less than 600 shillings. The paperwork was taken to Mr. Thacker, and he started deducting my salary. A good man called Mr. Gisho, he was a driver of the company, teaching me how to drive. And where did he teach me how to drive? He used to take me all the way to the national park. That's where he drove me. And within a span of time, because my head really wanted to drive this car, I knew how to drive, not knowing I'm digging a big pit for myself. And life continued. Now all my friends, we did not have cars, both young men and young women.
Ulikuwa na gari sasa hapo.
Niko na gari na nimeokoka. So I have two things. Hey, so it was, they want to go to Crab Harriers. I would take them. That car could carry as many, I don't know. Everybody was tiny that time. And I could go wait for them with all the handbags allowed. And every morning, everybody would give me 10 shillings. The following morning. Then we would learn, all of us. This time my father was in town. I could be staying with him in his sleep and dress up and go to church. And my heart started driving away. If the night was long and all these ladies become so stubborn, we could not reach in time because I have to drop them to their houses and then go home to get this money they have. And also my father didn't like the idea. And I could miss church 1 or 2 times. And now you see, I'm in church even here in Nairobi. I've joined myself, and here I've started walking away. But there was a gap. That after that, I could remember the old words of my grandmother. They could still ring on me. But I think I matured, not easily. How did I mature? I got some love. Where I was working in Before I had friends, not love. They are friends and love. And that's where many girls don't know.
Yes.
I had friends. And the friends I used to have, that the friends could not even respect your faith.
Yes.
And they were all my friends. And I could go and sit with them and do many stuff with them. But now this time I got love. The love I got was so close to my place of work because I was in this tannery building. It is still there. I think they have changed the name. And I got the love in Queensway, Barclays Park.
Yes.
So it was just closing.
Yes.
When I got some love, I think something calmed me down.
Yeah.
And when I was getting some love, this time I had joined friends from Redeemed Gospel Church. One of them being the daughter of Gitonga, who was now has become my friend, and many others.
Yes.
When I got them as my friends, and I remember one man of God in this town who was my friend, now he's a great man of God. When I got them, I used to go to their fellowship.
Yes.
And I found myself moving slowly to Redeemed Gospel Church. And all what they were saying, I used to love.
Wow.
All they're talking about, I used to love.
Yeah, you could connect
Yes, I could
them.
connect with them. And I could connect with the lady who got me, who took me to the church, who I followed to the church, the long road, or what they were doing. I started connecting very well. And there, Meja, I stuck in Redeemed Gospel Church, Huruma. And I stuck.
Now, that is the same place you got, you met your husband.
Yes, no, my husband was still in Presbyterian.
Okay.
But I have many friends of Redeemed.
Wow.
And so I did not go to ACK any longer.
Yeah.
I stuck in Redeemed.
Wow.
And I stayed in Redeemed. I stayed in Redeemed until one time, because I'm still working, I had, there is a branch of Redeemed in town, that is Embassy Hall. And when I was at my place of work, I could come at that Embassy Hall. And that's where I met Mr. Morando and the late Mzee Maingi, went to be with the Lord. And I stuck there, because it became easy for me even to attend fellowships. And I'm this person who, when I stuck. And I started now coming, and I joined completely until one time, a friend of mine called Beth told me that she was in Aga Khan walk and saw a certain woman.
You know what? All that thought is getting interesting. Let's just first take a break, and we'll be right back.
Yes.
That the Lord shall bring rain. He says, I will bring the former rain and the latter rain in the first month. Things that we knew, this is the season of God, but they did not happen. And today I stand here to say, delay is not denial. Your wilderness has come to an end. Your dryness has come to an end. Every blessing that belongs unto us, let it begin to rain upon our lives this day. I decree this morning that the heavens are open and it has begun raining upon us. The season when our land was not producing anything, the seasons are over. But from this day, it's raining upon our lives. Wakati wa mvua, vitu vyote vinamea pamoja. Katika jina la Yesu Kristo, let there be productivity upon our lives.
Welcome back to X Marks the Spot. Now we were continuing with Rev Jean's story. Reverend Jean,
Yes.
your life at this particular time, you get employed at a young age, your career is doing well, you meet the love of your life, you get married. All is well, but now there is one problem.
Yes. Thank you, Pastor Meja. Yes, this particular time I was a career lady and I did not struggle to get a job.
Yeah.
And as I said before, I got a love line and I got married.
Yeah.
I got married the best way our ladies can get married, with their encouraged weight. I had kept the faith until I got married. But when I got married, I was married by a firstborn of a family. And the firstborn of a family, everybody is expecting you get married this year. Next year, the babies are clothing there. This did not happen. And to me, challenges started. I stayed. Immediately I got married, there was another lady who got married in the same family by the brother. When she came when she was pregnant. So in 5 months' time, there was a baby. Hi, here I am. Things are rosy to me because I am working. I'm born again, but childless.
Yes.
And I stayed 1 year, 2 years. In those 2 years or 4 months, my other lady who was married, she got another child. So she was a mother of 2.
Yes.
And we walked home because her own mother, where she had come from, which was a very big challenge to me, came to see the children of her daughter. We call it Itega. So when she came with many women, as it's a custom. Here I am, very straight, very slender, knowing God, speaking in tongues, and no child, and with money. Here I am, married by a firstborn, who the father or the family are expecting in a highway, no child. When the Iteka came to our home, I have to be there because I'm the first wife.
Yes.
So we did all what it's done, serving them, welcoming them. Now it came to the time of the gifts. And the mother of the lady started giving gifts to her daughter, plus the people she had come with. But one thing happened in that meeting, which even today, when I look back, I did not know how I stand. Imagine everybody in the village know I don't have a child.
Yes.
So the mother had kept a towel aside, 6 napkins, there were no diapers that time, and a small suit that was blue, was white, it was a small hat, a sweater and pants and socks, folded them together. And she gave them to me like this in front of the crowd. And then this one belonged to Mama Jimmy Mukubwa. My world went down in front of all the ladies. You look, all the eyes are on you.
Yes.
I wish the world or the earth could open up to swallow me. But I was there. I took those stuff because he handed them to me in front of everybody. I put them on my stomach like this because I feel like I'm falling. Where I was laying in our home-based Ishagis, we have the cupboards. So I turned back, I put them on, and the party continued. But the way it was continuing, I myself, I was in my own party. They were in their own party, and they left. The moment they left, I went to our small house. My husband had built a small house. I looked at those things. Pastor Meja, I cried. Not the cry that you cried at by yourself. It was the cry that neighbors could hear with a loud voice. And I cried, after crying, because my husband could not stop me. First of all, I locked myself. And my mother wanted to keep me quiet, so my mother-in-law, so she was like, they used to call me still Mama Jimmy, Mama Jimmy, Mama Jimmy. But I couldn't open for anybody. First of all, I didn't hear them. Because there was something. And the cry I remember was telling God, is this how you ashame people? And that's what I keep remembering. Is this how you ashame your people? Is this how you ashame your people? After I finished crying, I looked at the towel and I touched it. And I had some faith in me, and I said, even if you live for 100 years, nobody will wipe on with you. It's only Jimmy or whoever will come. It's a child from me. I kept them. The following morning, we came back to Nairobi with still shame hanging on me. And I'm the talk of the village that time.
Yes.
I came. I continued. It's not easy, as I'm talking about in a few minutes. It's not that easy. But 1 to 3 months down the line, I got very sick. When I got very sick, I went to the company doctor that was in Norfolk inside. We had a doctor there that's where we were going. There was a nurse station. The nurse checked on me, and she asked me, "Don't you think you're pregnant?" I said, "I don't think so." She said, "Jane, you are pregnant." And she used to joke with all of us because she was a nurse for the company. She knew all of us. She said, "What were you expecting after marriage of this long?" I said, I remember she asked that. She said, "Jane, the way I see things here, you are pregnant." I didn't believe on her. So I came to another hospital somewhere in Eastleigh. Those times city council hospitals were the best. I came there again and I was checked and they said I'm pregnant.
Wow.
It was not easy. We were happy, me and my husband, but we did not know what the world is awaiting. Here, after a few days, I went to the hospital again. And the pregnancy was threatening. And from there, I was kept in a hospital under bed rest 5 straight months. I thank God the company did not fire me. And after 5 months, I got a baby. Got my bouncing son, Jimmy. And I left the hospital. I was in my own world and still kept the faith. Let alone, after that pregnancy, challenges still followed. That was the only child I got. I stayed for a long time. No other child is coming. Back home, now there is married another lady who is on a highway bringing up children. The one that had 2 now had 3.
What?
Now there I am. But now, sincerely speaking, I knew God, and with this one son, my life was very comfortable. But after a span of many years, I'm talking many years, I had another pregnancy.
Wow.
And this one, I stayed with it. It was not threatening anything, but after 6 months, I myself, my chest was not, I don't know about the doctor says, my heart was beating around many things. And I was kept in the hospital too. But this one came with a lot of challenges. First, I had to go through an operation. And when the baby came, challenges started. The baby I gave birth to, after 2 weeks, the doctors realized something is very wrong on his stomach. He could not pass the stool. And challenges fell on me. Because I was in the hospital now and then. He could get, his stomach could just get constipated. He could try to vomit, it was not coming. Until he was diagnosed by one doctor that this child was born with the head nerves of his digestion system. And so, I want to cut it short. With many surgeries, many times attending hospitals, actually Gertrude had turned to be our hospital. My husband was not receiving salary. It was like peanuts because we could use all the
Salary on the
salary, not the salary, even the insurance, and we had to touch the salary. I thank God we had good parents. My parents-in-law were very well, and they could bring us food. And we were just entering in and out because when constipation came, we had to take him there, get an enema, get the stool out, week after week. And now the doctor set us down with a group of doctors, and they told us what was supposed to be done, which we are supposed to go for 3, not small but major operation upon this son. And as parents, we had no many options. The option was yes. And we agreed, and option started. And he went to the first surgery, which was to remove his digestion system, to bring the pipe and to put it on the side. That they call it colostomy. Nobody could handle your child on that case because the waste is coming on the side, so it is you who to take care of your child because of many things that can come up. That's where I stopped working in my good company. I went there, I gave them the letters of the doctor. I had to be the number one nurse. And they sympathized with me. I was given my dues and my love prayers, and because I had stayed there and we were okay, and left the company like that. Now I was a housewife with this child and challenges. We continued for 5 straight years because the healing had to go for 5 years. Now, when I was going through all these challenges, that's the time my friend Beth came to me and spoke to me about a woman she saw an Aga Khan walk. And I went there one time, I saw her. Second day, I saw her, but Beth told me she's no longer there. We couldn't find her. And the woman disappeared, the woman that we had seen, that we are clinging on her faith and the prayers. Like me, I really needed those prayers. This particular time, I went through the challenges of the child, and God came and the child went through the third surgery and was healed completely.
Amen.
He's a big son.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And I look at him, the way strong he is, and that was the end of him in sickness.
Wow.
He never even gets a home.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, God is good.
Yes.
Wow.
And from there now, it was now me and God. Now, remember, I'm not working.
Yes.
I have free time.
Yes.
The child is well. And I could get relatives to stay home. I still come to Embassy Hall for lunch hour. But one time when I was still in Embassy Hall, my friend said, I found the woman. I asked, where did you find the woman? In Man. We did not go Embassy anymore. And that was the turning point to today. We started in Man, we came, and we stuck. And that was the end of the whole thing. When we stuck there, okay, because in Embassy Hall, I was an usher. Pastor was Pastor Miranda, looked for me, and I went there. Fortunately or unfortunately, that was the time they were moving out of town, and they were going to Outering. And I was living in Kawangware. And so me and him sat down and I told him, now with my children and the cases and the problems and the little money that we have to take 2 vehicles from here to town to Outering, it's not working well. Okay, did not go very well, but I left. So I came to Man. I came to Man and I did not leave, even today.
I remember going to Sunday school with your son.
Yes.
Wow.
I brought them when they were young age. In their young age, they can all count on Man. Yes.
So you were in Jiam, but there's a time now you went abroad.
Yes, I came to Jiam. I stayed. It was the best I ever saw. Get connected when I see the friends that I still have them here. I like it very well.
Yes.
We had very little finance. We could share chips with one of the ladies here whom I love. We could share, my children could share, and it was well. But time came, I wanted to relocate. I had a sister, even she's still there, and she said, because of the many loans, because after the sickness we incurred a lot of loans. The many loans that you have, you need to do something. Somebody need to do something, and then you go to work. That time also, Kweli, I was still looking for something to do in town, but I didn't get. I tried small business, it was not working. But the best thing, my husband was still holding on in his job. I relocated. when I relocated, God works in His own mysterious way.
Yes.
When I arrived, my sister used to live in Virginia that time. When I arrived, she took me to a Bible school. The Bible school she took me to, it's called Eastern Mennonite Bible School.
Yes.
When I went to that place, I saw the faith of the lady who I had followed, was staying in us. But it was something similar, but now this on the white people way style. Because those ladies were wearing long clothes, no pants, and like a small scarf on their head. And their children could not date. They were bringing them together. There was certain food they could not eat.
So they were doing like arranged marriages.
Yes, that's what they were doing. And they were really strict on the things of God. So joining there, you will really have to be drilled even today. I joined the classes that time. My sister told me that this can suit for you and you work. And we joined, and I came to realize I am not paying even a dime. They are rich people, and they do a lot of helping. And so I had fallen to be among them. And now I started there. And I started working too, in my small ways. Actually, we stayed there for 1 year. And for 1 year, I had skipped that class, that school for so many days, I better say that. But one thing I had kept faith. When we went there, I told my sister, make sure there is a church that I can attend. I joined the church. It is more Presbyterian. But when I joined with the very few people, but I was comfortable because we were preaching faith. Later on, I relocated to Atlanta, Georgia, where I lived most of my time. When I was in Atlanta, Georgia, I knew what I want. I kept on board so much with Bishop Margaret. I was total on board. Anytime Bishop Margaret visited, I could be in that particular town where she is. So I kept on board. When I used to come back, and she sent me with what needed to be sent back. And I used to take many tips with me. And this time I had grown. I had my own house. And it had turned to be a small congregation. I had a small congregation, which we should meet because I was not giving my cassettes away. We should listen them in my house. So, and because now this time I'm a mama and I know exactly what I want, where I went on and meet like a group of people, and we became very friends. And we were from different backgrounds, but we all loved one God. One of the guys we met decided we need to move from the house, go to the somewhere where other people can come, because people cannot come from our house, cannot be coming in our houses. The 5 of us, Pastor Meja, we contributed. We got a small hall, and it's not small. America, they don't have small halls. It was too big, but abandoned somewhere. Some people of tax used to work there and they left. We got it somewhere called Valley Roads. And when we were there, believe me, it was like people were waiting. And this man also belonged to the sect of the wrong ropes, him and the wife. So I don't know how I was getting into these people. But the rest of us, we were not in it. And so all of us joined hands together, and the church started. And it brought so many people. One thing we kept saying, this is an interdenominational church. So you keep your church, but this is a place for worship. We went on for a very long time. But something went wrong one time. What went wrong? Remember, Bishop came to Knoxville. And because I used to preach Bishop. And here, I became so powerful. I had so many followers, I better say that. So many friends. And they believed in me. And for sure, God worked with me in America like I've never seen. And I would rather say that. Many failures come to America, but I want to say America did not fail me. When I went there, all what we had, every kind of debt, we paid.
Wow.
So my husband was debt free.
Amen.
At that time, we had moved to another bigger house in Kawangware, where many people, like in Nepal, we used to do many things in that place. I used to love it. And I was said that I could reach many people with the little America was giving at me. I don't want to say little. I could reach out very nicely. So one time, I went to Knoxville, where Bishop was. It was a graduation of our doctor, Reverend Evans, and the wife. I carried a group of women, and it was on a Sunday.
Yes.
Me and a friend called Jambi, who lives in Boston, we met, and we were there. Unfortunately, the people I went with, because they were my closest friend, they were the leaders of the church that we had. And so there were many phone calls. Mkwapi? We went to where Bishop was. Okay, then we come back. Between me and the man of God did not go well.
Yes.
And we continued, but I knew things did not go well. But I said one thing in my heart, in my inner heart. Went to my house and I said one thing. I hate if I could be the one to break the church of God.
Yes.
Because these people are called, they are not outside. And many of them don't even have a church. Many of them are not born again. But at least on Sunday, they come somewhere and hear the word of God. If I will be the problem, I better let it go, humble myself, and let the people continue with the church. Actually, I took two of my friends and I went to the, now he was a pastor's house. And I told him, I have come to repent. And even today, I know how to do that. I know how to go down. And I went to him, he was with his wife. And when I went, the children were there. And he wanted to send them away. I said, no, let's teach them something. Don't send the children away, let them stay there. I said, between me and you, I know something did not go right. But between me and you, when I met, me, three of us, with a lady called Waringa, she stayed here for a few. When she relocated, she was here for a few days. Even she was given to encourage people by Bishop, and then she left. Between me and that lady, we told you we belong to Jesus is a Life Ministry. And we are anchored there. And because here we are far off Jesus is a Life Ministry, we need to come together. But because that thing angered you, and I don't want to speak something that can make people come out of the church, I come to apologize. He received it the way he could receive it. That one I left to him, and we continued. But you know, God works his own ways. I got a job, a beautiful job, I can say that, to work for the Jews. And it was hard for people to get. When I got it, they said the vacant is in Maryland. In Maryland, I have my three cousins. I talked to them about it, and they said, do not lose that chance.
Yes.
So that's how I moved out of Georgia. That's how I left the church in a good way.
Wow.
Now in Maryland, I also joined the group of Kenyans too.
Yes.
And now I'm not a stranger now. I know my way out. And when I joined them, we continued. But major challenges were still on the way. One time I was coming from this beautiful, beautiful job. Okay, I don't want to say it was just a day. It was just like a month. I could feel something is not right.
Yes.
First and foremost, I realized I'm adding weight.
Yes.
And I had cut the weight. I knew how to keep it. I realized I'm adding weight. And there was not much I could do about it. Secondly, I realized adding this weight, there's certain food I'm eating and I have a big problem. I could not eat oranges. They were very acidic on me. But I did not take it further.
Yes.
But this one time I was coming from work early in the mornings.
Yes.
And I feel like I want to throw up. I parked somewhere and they wanted to throw it, I couldn't come out. Unless my stomach is really hurting. It not start on a small way. You know, there's way you can start things on a small way.
Yeah.
This is starting on the highest gear of something.
Yeah.
You know, you can start something small.
Yeah.
It just like, it's like a stone throw.
Yeah.
Hey, driving was a challenge. Now I started calling my friends, calling the people I know. The stomach was not the normal one.
Yes.
I arrived home, but with somebody behind me, because I had invited her. I told her something is not right.
Yes.
When this somebody came with me, I said something is not right. She told me, change, we go to hospital. We went to hospital. When I was in the hospital, I realized this is a casualty case.
Yes.
When the doctors checked on me, they started wheeling me up and down, and I realized things are not working. And also myself now, I could feel. I picked up my phone. This time the cell phones are everywhere. I called Bishop. Told Bishop, here I am in the hospital and sick. And okay, the doctor had said, let's check on you.
Yes.
And if all the report does not come out well in a few minutes, we are taking you to theater.
Yes.
So I called Bishop and I said, Bishop, this is what is happening. There was a main meeting that was going on here.
Yes.
And he gave me to a certain man of God. And I could hear on the background agreeing with the man. And the man prayed for me. A man prayed, this man of God prayed, whom I don't know the name even today. And when he finished praying for me, in a span before the end of the day, the reports had come. And they said there's something wrong with my ovaries or with my stomach, and they will operate on me. In a span of 3 days,
Yes.
I was operated. I was in hospital, and that hospital I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and stage 4.
What?
Hey, the big game started. I'll call it again. But I saw the hand of Lord.
Yes.
I want to say and tell the viewer, one thing did not come into my mind, and that I'll say shamelessly, I did not fear.
Wow.
Something, the fear inside.
Yeah.
Missed things like time of my son. My heart, I was fearing so much.
Yes.
But this one, I was not fearing until one man doctor came and asked, did you understand what we said? I said, yes, I understand. Because he could say, I did not fear. Inside myself, I felt a small voice that said, it shall be all right.
Wow.
I turned. I was weak to pray. But thank God, men and women came up of faith. They prayed with me. And now I started from the hospital, home. I started chemo. The worst thing I've ever seen. After every 3 weeks, I'm on my way to chemo. After chemo got finished, it was too much. I remember one time, I came to hospital, me and my sister had agreed. She was doing an exam. I told her I can take myself because I'm not. This time, the whole chemo time, I kept on my bishop, and she kept on me. I do remember my family came, and one time I left home by myself, and one of the nurses asked me, who brought you? I say, I brought myself. I say, who will take you home? I say, somebody's coming. And it was summertime. When I walked outside the car, I went inside the car. I forgot myself. And I ring on the steering, and I went up, and it's summertime. It took somebody with the children next the car, so, and then said, this lady came here and she's sleeping. She was concerned. So the hospital came and opened, and they got me out. And then because I was so weak. And so from that time, I didn't go back by myself. Had somebody to take me. By the end of the whole thing, I had a document that was written, I am cancer free, even today.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That is a powerful.
Yes.
And can you know, there are many people who are watching here, Reverend. Many people are going through stuff. Even some of them have been diagnosed with COVID-19, others with cancer. I just feel in the Spirit of God just ushering us. Can you just stretch out your hands towards them? And if you're watching this and you know you are not feeling well, you know the devil has attacked. The Bible says that the enemy, he comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And the devil has purpose in your life. You know, he has messed your life with all sorts of sickness, all sorts of infirmity. But I believe there's a faith that is in this place that you can connect to. I just want you to stretch your hands towards the TV screen, and you can you just pray for them and declare healing in their lives.
Yes.
In Jesus' name.
Thank you, Pastor Meja. First, I would like to tell you, as I said, there is one fear the devil is using even today, the fear.
Yes.
Nothing else. The tool of the devil, the armory of the devil is the fear. The moment you get any kind of a report and you fear that thing will get on you. But the moment you get a report, first and foremost, let God take up your hand.
Yes.
I'd rather tell you that who you are watching, the devil has nothing else to take from you. It's only to kill, to steal, to destroy. If he managed to steal, to kill, to steal from you, he will steal your faith, and so you start fearing. If he managed to destroy, he will destroy your relationship with God until you come to a place where you don't think that Jesus can heal. So today, I wanna you connect with me, and I tell you, do not fear. Yes. Do not fear. Whatever has come your way, you can feel it, you can see it. Like I said, I went through it, tangible, pain, going through, but there is God who heals. So today, I want to tell you and I declare healing upon all what you're going through. Maybe corona, that we have all been fearing that because it has come and broke down everything that's caused by us, and many other sicknesses and diseases. And even now, sometimes you could be visiting hospital here and there, not knowing what to be the outcome. I tell you, the outcome will be good because of Jesus. And I decree healing upon your life in Jesus' mighty name.
In Jesus' mighty name.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Just want to speak to our viewers that God is not a respecter of man. If he did it for Reverend Janie, he can do it for you.
Yes.
If he favored her, he can also favor you. And so today, just want to declare favor upon your life, favor upon your business, favor upon your family, in Jesus' mighty name. Thank you so much for tuning in, Reverend Janie. Thank you so much for honoring us. You are the first guest this year, and that is such an honor.
Amen.
May God bless you. May God continue exalting you.
Amen.
From here, we just want to say goodbye. Catch us the next week, same place, same time.
JBN, the glory is here.